One more, and done. I'm proud of myself. Are you proud of yourself? Oh, hell yeah, I'm proud of myself. We finished the entire 2016 lineup. It's all ready to go. It's gonna be smart, informative, enlightening, hilarious, witty. Oh yeah, 2016 is coming up. Armoured Media. The trick is to get the boss to follow along with the criteria that we got set up here. I don't know how we're gonna do that yet. Leave that to me. I've got a trick up my sleeve. Hey boss, I got ice cream.
I'm taking a break.
Oh, come on.
I don't want to work this month.
Boss, I haven't even told you what you have to do to get it yet.
I just want to watch my nerd videos.
Hey boss, what you watching?
Dude calls himself Dogma Slayer 666. This motherfucker is legit.
I think most of us are in agreement here that the scale of the Millennium Falcon in comparison to Slave 1 is probably something like this. Slave 1 may have been able to take out the Falcon, but the reason he didn't engage the Falcon is because he knew the Falcon was kind of a tank. But there are people, I swear to God, are saying the Millennium Falcon and Slave 1 are like this scale together. Now, fuck off with that shit. That just is ridiculous if you ask me.
Based as
Boss, we got a great idea. Could be your best video yet.
Hey dude, do you want to giggle at some cartoons with me? That would be awesome.
Ah, f it. I don't need this shit. Maybe I hate everything is looking for minions. I heard he's an atheist. No more atheists.
Spirit Science, Secrets of the Moon. Sounds pretty good. Let's try this out.
Man, I love the moon.
It's such a random way to start the video.
We like the moon!
Would you say the moon is masculine or feminine?
What?
Spiritually speaking, I've most often heard that it embodies female energy.
It's a rock.
We have Mother Nature full of life and creation. Wouldn't the moon be the father?
Yeah, you might think so. However, our celestial father is most definitely the sun.
Oh, right, I forgot.
It's because of our father above and our mother below that allows all of this life to exist.
So the sun shoots its life-giving rays at the earth, and the earth gives birth to life. That makes sense to me.
The moon is actually neither, which makes me think it must be more like a cousin.
Wait, so does that mean during solar eclipses... Oh my god. You fucking block!
But perhaps what's more curious about old Lady Luna is that her existence has actually never been explained by modern science.
I didn't know that.
Who needs science to explain things?
Right. I mean, I know you don't. But isn't it interesting that using science we can build nuclear weapons, but cannot even explain this most ancient entity that floats at our doorstep?
It's not really fair. I mean, they're completely different studies of science, but I get what you're saying.
What's stranger? The moon is actually far too big to be a natural satellite of the Earth. The current leading theory in science is that something like a Mars-sized planet-like rock came out of nowhere and hit the Earth, and then it became the moon.
I'm just gonna get this out of the way right now. We can explain the moon. It is a mystery, correct, because it isn't part of the Earth. It came from somewhere else, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's a fantastic story. It was probably just another part of our solar system that crashed into us.
And when those physics didn't work out, they came up with a new theory that said that the same planet-like rock-like thing hits the planet, bounces around, and then hits it again, and then becomes the moon. Needless to say, the physics still didn't work.
Well, we don't have the details, but that's what would have happened.
Well, what the hell? Is there more?
Well, now that you ask, have you ever heard anything about it being hollow?
Hollow?
Yeah, I've got the details somewhere here.
You just carry around details about how the moon is hollow in your backpack everywhere you go? That's how you roll.
In November of 1969, NASA crashed a lunar module into the moon, causing the equivalent of 1 ton of TNT. NASA said that the moon reverberated like a gong for half an hour.
NASA never said that.
Then they did it again, causing an impact of 11.5 tons of TNT, and it rang like a bell for over 4 hours.
No, it didn't.
It vibrated in a way as if it were hollowed out, with giant hydraulic damper struts inside of it.
Wowzy wheezy.
Wowzy wheezy indeed, buddy. I mean, that is a pretty fantastic description of something that there's no way they could have ever tested. Hey, Jordan, how did they come to that conclusion, by the way?
Want to know something else?
Always.
I love the way this three-eye guy reacts to everything Jordan says. He gets really excited and then just asks for more. Doesn't even question whether what he's hearing is wrong or not.
The surface of the moon contains minerals like titanium, but also processed metals like brass and mica.
I could only find one article on the entire internet that said that there was brass on the moon, and that was on an alternative website, and that alternative website didn't use a source for that information, so I'm gonna go ahead and say that that's a lie? Second of all, mica's not a metal, it's a mineral. I do doubt also that that was on the moon. I can't find any sources that say that there was mica on the moon.
It also contains something called uranium-236 and neptunium, which are both minerals that have never been found to occur naturally.
Whoa, that would change everything we know about chemistry and the moon if that were true. Everybody, I found an article about this, and I think we should all read this together because the implications are pretty intense. Are you ready? Short-lived isotopes, thorium-230 and uranium-236, exist on the moon. Oh. Except uranium-236 isn't a short-lived isotope.
Neptunium is a radioactive byproduct of nuclear reactors when plutonium is being created.
Cool, but none was on the moon.
This means that at least some of the rocks on the moon are most likely synthetic.
What?
I wouldn't say it's illogical to come to the conclusion that it could be artificially created.
That's really intense.
Based on everything we know about the moon today, it is illogical to come to the conclusion that it was created. Even from the information you have, it's illogical to come to the conclusion that it was created.
You know the craters on the moon?
Intimately.
Okay, if you ever ask somebody if they know about something and they answer,
Intimately.
fucking run.
Well, craters should vary in depth due to the size and impact of the various space rocks that hit them, right? We can tell that there was a difference in the meteor sizes that hit the moon by the diameters of each crater.
Yes, bigger rocks make bigger holes.
How come all of them, across the board, are the same depth?
Mother of God. An impenetrable shell.
They are not, oh my god, they are not the same depth. They all have relatively the same amount of sediment in them, though, and that is an interesting question. What that leads us to believe is that there was a certain period of time when the moon was receiving a lot of meteors, as possibly still during the time of the formation of the Earth. And it's possible this period of time ended abruptly. Now, I mean abruptly within, like, a celestial time, like within a few thousand years.
Oh, here, read this part here.
David Icke's research led him to shaman around the world.
David Icke? Does anybody know who David Icke is? He's the guy that goes around saying that the world is ruled by reptiles who shapeshift into humans. This is David Icke. This is who you are talking about. He believes that the moon is an actual egg that reptiles came out of. I'm not making this up. This is what he actually believes.
Zulu tribes speak of the moon being an egg.
Great. Good for the Zulu tribes.
They symbolize it to be an egg for good reason. The ancient African and Sumerian legends talk of two brothers, Wawan and Mpanku, that emptied out the yolk and rolled the moon across the sky to the earth and caused cataclysmic events hundreds of generations before our time.
Yeah, man. You don't need to go into detail about that. Everybody knows about Yawan and Mapinko. Or whatever. We don't talk to us like we're stupid. We know what this is. I forget though, which one of them pooped the egg?
This says here that the rocks on the moon are older than the Earth itself.
Heavens.
What says? What are you holding? You're holding a gray square. Is that it's supposed to be a tablet? Is it a booklet?
You know, I think I've only ever seen one side of the moon.
Okay. There it is.
I wonder why it doesn't spin like other planets.
This is why. This is why.
Have you ever noticed that the size and position of the moon is exactly in the right place to create a perfect solar eclipse?
That's so intense.
Oh yeah, that's so fucking intense.
And just like the tides, it even bends the water in our bodies.
What? That can't be true. Now I'll admit people do act differently when the moon is full, but that has nothing to do with tides.
That's why on nights of the full moon, there's always an increase of violent crimes. And probably passionate love.
I love that. And probably passionate love.
It used to be a legal defense to say that one was moonstruck.
I don't understand where you're going with this. How is this proof that it's artificial?
Do you think these things were deliberately introduced to the Earth? Maybe for a purpose?
It's a possibility.
What do you think that purpose could be?
They say that the beings who put it there were trying to bring a new frequency to the planet, or maybe even provide us with some sort of resonation or gravitational wave that was vital for our survival.
What the fuck? How could you ever possibly come to that conclusion?
I've read that the Earth isn't even in the right place in the solar system anymore.
Well, there are only really two other places where it can be, Jordan. Closer to the sun, where the atmosphere will just bake, or further away from the sun, where the atmosphere will dissipate. So, which one should we choose?
The story goes that at one point, the Earth used to exist between Mars and Jupiter.
Is this going to be the asteroid belt creation story? Yeah, I know there's a New Age version of that.
And may have even been slightly larger than it is today. But
Oh shit, dude, that was fucking violent.
today,
I love it. More of this.
it was hit, and it flew off course, creating the asteroid belt, which is mostly frozen water and rock debris, and wound up in a new orbit, right here.
Wouldn't it make more sense if that's how the moon got here?
But because of the impact of what happened, this planet was going to die, and it needed some help to keep it spinning and keep its orbit proper. And thus, the moon was put there by some advanced alien race or a higher form of consciousness who saw it as a requirement for the planet's survival, maybe even our own survival.
Although I can certainly see why that would be your natural conclusion to the question, science can't tell us where it came from. Can we pretend for a second that I'm skeptical of your claim and that I need some evidence that this is true?
Which would explain why the Earth-to-Moon ratio is found within the human energy field.
Shit, the only ratio I care about is the hip-to-waist ratio. Am I right, boys? Oh!
Oh, you can't talk like that.
What?
No boys, the feminists are listening.
Oh, right, shit. I mean, personality?
Then, events such as the falling of Atlantis and rising back to consciousness could take place under circumstances that otherwise couldn't have happened.
That's really amazing.
It's amazing that even made sense to you.
Wait, did you say that the human geometries match the Earth and the Moon ratio?
Hey, I think you're really gonna love this.
What the f***?
In Drimbolo's Flower of Life books, he shows these drawings here. As you can see, this is the Egg of Life, mapped over Leonardo da Vinci's Canon of Man, along with a proportionate 8x8 grid. Around the Egg of Life, you see two rings. This is the zona pellucida, the membrane around the structure.
Okay, so I get that those things are important sacred geometry.
Do you? Because what I get is that he's drawing a bunch of circles around a guy.
First, we have to identify the male and female side of the equation.
I don't get Jordan's obsession with the male and female thing.
On the top level, you have a circle and a square. They fractal down to the 8 physical spheres and the 8x8 grid of squares.
Okay. Still seems pretty meaningless.
See how you can draw a circle that fits perfectly inside of these circles? And you'll get a circle that's just slightly smaller than the 4 squares put together.
Okay, but you haven't explained why you're using that particular pattern of squares.
It just so happens to also fit perfectly around the edge, balancing between the inner circles and the outer larger circle.
Yes, you could, but it's meaningless because we do not understand why that particular pattern of squares exists.
If we take the 4 squares and use them as a measure, we can create a new circle, slightly larger than the smaller one we just drew.
Yeah, that's how geometry works.
If we move it to the top, it pushes out beyond the inner circle a little bit, and what we're left with is the inner and outer edge of the zona pellucida,
Fine, it, whatever.
and a delineation of the human energy field.
You're pushing it.
Nobody knows where this next part I'm about to show you actually comes from.
Of course that roughly translates into, what I'm about to tell you is a fucking lie.
Using the tip of the zona pellucida as a radial point between it and the square to create a new sphere, this then delineates the field of the 13th chakra. The ratio between this new sphere and a sphere based off of this square, the physical form of the Earth, is the exact same ratio as that of the Earth and the Moon.
You're gonna give me a fucking stroke, man.
You'll also notice too that the zona pellucida has actually merged with the square around the body and planet to create the phi ratio. It's a bridge to a higher consciousness.
Whoa.
Okay, this better be impressive. I'm gonna fast forward through your math.
In the circle and square diagram, to create the phi ratio, the circumference of a circle must be equal to the perimeter of a square. When you calculate the perimeter of the square that would be around the physical Earth, it comes to 31,680 miles, which is the diameter of the Earth times 4. To get the circle around the Earth is a little bit more tricky because you have the Moon's involvement. You have to imagine the Moon is perfectly placed against the Earth without going into it at all. Then we take the diameter of the Earth and the diameter of the Moon, add them together, and multiply by pi. It comes out at 31,667.
Holy crap, they're almost the exact same numbers.
Exactly.
Holy crap. They're completely different numbers. Exactly.
There's a 13-mile difference, but 13 miles is nothing when you consider that the ocean rises nearly 27 miles around the equator.
Okay, but the Earth isn't a perfect sphere either. It's kind of glob-shaped. Like this is all meaningless.
So what does all of this mean to us, Mr. Patch?
What does it mean? What does it mean?
What does it mean? God, you guys are so full of yourself with your third eye flashes.
I guess it means that the moon is not just this random satellite that has nothing to do with us.
Oh my god, it clearly has everything to do with us. We would not exist if it were not for that moon.
It's there for a reason, for a chance. A chance that we might just make the most important decision that we've ever made as a species.
What, to exist? Because it's already done that.
And create together a new way of life on this planet.
Are you, sold on that Flower City thing? Cause I'm not really feeling it. Can I maybe have more like a Harley Davidson kind of feel? I don't know.
It's up to the collective, to all of mankind. Do we choose love? Or do we choose chaos and war? Maybe a little bit of both from the looks of it right now. But times are changing. This isn't the old world anymore. It's now a matter of survival and collaboration. The moon appears to offer us the opportunity to change, to become aware, to grow. But it won't make the decision for us. That's up to us.
What the are you talking about?
This seems to be evidence of a long-lost secret that has to do with our evolution.
No, it's not a secret.
Either way, I still love the moon, man.
We like the moon! The moon is very useful, everyone!
Me too. Want some beans?
More than anything ever, Mr. Patch. Anything ever.
That's how you end this head trip? Thank you for watching. If you like what you saw and you'd like to see more Armored Skeptic, please subscribe. If you absolutely love me, you can support me on Patreon. Or if you have a passing affection for me, you can buy my t-shirt. Links in the description. I mean, personality? 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 I mean...